We're continuing our conversation right here on 94.7 Blair Radio and BlairRadio.com. Again, brought to us by Turnkey Nerds, 402-426-NERD. Congressman Adrian Smith has joined us today. Again, thank you. If you've missed any of our conversation, go to our website, BlairRadio.com, and you can watch at your leisure as many times as you would like. So we've been having a great conversation, really just kind of about what some of your thoughts are, trade and things like that. Going out. Then also, we want to talk about what's going on with E85 and corn and stuff like that, and how that impacts our state. I know you have some thoughts there.
Yeah, the biofuels issue, it's actually very exciting. And E85 is available to some folks. Really, the gap that exists is more access to E15. Mm-hmm. There's the E10 issue. There is, but E15. I've been working on this dynamic for quite a while, not as a mandate, but to allow the year-round sale of E15. There have been some recent developments that have been happening in the right direction, but I would argue there are still too many unnecessary barriers that exist to consumers choosing this. It's not about forcing a consumer to do anything. It's about allowing retailers to offer more products. I've been encouraged by retailers' eagerness to offer more products as they engage their own customers, and I hope that we can get more of this out there, more of these options out there. Ultimately, it's good for producers of product here in Nebraska and other states. But ultimately, when consumers have more choices, that's always a good thing.
Is there a barrier going back not too long ago in the conversation or language saying, well, we're going to abolish or get rid of all gas-burning vehicles? Does that create an interesting conversation point?
Well, yeah, we would call it liquid fuel.
Yeah.
The fact that there seems to be, the president, he wants everyone to drive a Tesla, I guess. And he wants to subsidize that and subsidize the power, the charging stations. California, as you probably know, they like electric vehicles too, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then they had to ration charging your own vehicle.
Right. Yeah. Get a generator to charge your vehicle.
Right. Yeah, that seems a little bit self-defeating.
Right.
But there are energy realities that exist, whether it's wind turbines in the appropriate place, which isn't everywhere. Solar collectors as well. What's interesting, someone the other day told me that they think that solar power is to wind what natural gas has been to coal.
Okay.
Which I found interesting just as an aside. But ultimately, the government being, this entity that forces you to do this or that, whether it's energy or other things, it's too cumbersome. So we want to make sure that as we do pursue the future, that the government has an appropriate role and that it doesn't overstep and pick winners and losers. I mean, that the government, especially when it comes to energy, hasn't had a very good record on energy. It led to gas lines in the 70s. We saw what happened in Texas not that long ago when wind power was incapable of meeting the needs of a vast area.
Right.
So we've got controversies in rural Nebraska right now about where, when, and how many wind turbines there should be. It ought not be the government is saying, forcing this here and there. And plus, if let's just say that if it were feasible overnight to replace coal with wind turbines, I don't think very many people would like that view, or the lack of reliability for wind power when you can't store the energy like you can coal energy, for example.
Right. Well, I always look to farmers. I grew up on a farm and everything. In the communities we are, if you're looking for somebody who is going to best use every aspect of everything that they do, it is going to be a farmer.
That's right.
And if they no longer use windmills like they used to, it leads me to a thought. So I will let other people come to that conclusion if they want to.
That's right.
But if farmers couldn't make it work, how is government going to do that?
Well, and that's a great point, because wind energy, and for more than just a well for cattle or livestock. I mean, rural America tried wind power quite some time ago.
Oh yeah,
even with some batteries, and it just never really was that feasible to grow.
Yeah.
Now I think in the future, I'm kind of excited about what we call distributed power. So on-site power generation, different methods, even biomass for on-site consumption. Now, and even though I'm excited about that, that's not how we power industry.
Right.
And we talk about wanting to have more domestic manufacturing. We better not screw up the energy issue.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be sending even more jobs to China and India,
where they don't care about some of the regulations,
right?
To be honest,
many of the regulations,
many of the regulations, so.
labor standards and environmental standards as well.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up, I know you have someplace to be here in a little bit, but as we wrap up, just really looking at the future, what is it that you want your constituents really to have a good view of where you want to take this?
I focus every day on opportunity for the American people. What is it that I'm doing today and what I'm planning for tomorrow that can grow opportunity for a brighter future? We've got workforce issues. We have folks on the sidelines of our economy that we want to be back on the playing field. And I've worked on, we call it Jobs for Success. That's a bill that helps folks pursue a brighter future. Tax policy, agriculture, trade policy, healthcare, and these are issues. The Ways and Means Committee, we focus on these things. Social Security, 2035, if we do nothing about Social Security in 2035, benefits will automatically decrease by 25%. No vote of Congress needed.
You're done.
It's structured that way. That's already in law. So this tells me that we better pursue some modest updates and modernization to strengthen Social Security. Similar dynamic with Medicare, different kind of drawback and benefits perhaps, but it is about strengthening things like Social Security, like Medicare, and building respect for our country around the world as it relates to trade, as it relates to keeping our country safe. And I so appreciate hearing from Nebraskans and their ideas, taking their concerns to Washington, and I'm anxious to always do that every time I'm back in Nebraska.
Oh, well, thank you for coming in, and we love hearing your voice. So anytime you have something you want to talk about, you're in the area, or if Zoom or whatever, let us know.
Okay.
We want to make sure your word gets out.
You bet.
Here.
Will do.